and welcome to a special Christy Ian Peter Collins film discussion.
That's right, Chris. And oh wow, do we have a movie to talk about today, don't we, Chris?
That's right, Peter. So let's not waste any time and get to what we're going to talk about for today. The 2012 comedy film, The Campaign, starring Will Ferrell and Zach Galligan.
The plot of the movie takes place in South Carolina as we follow a Democrat senator played by Will Ferrell named Cam Brady, who's apparently won every single time to keep his position because he's run unopposed. That is until a parody of the Koch brothers, played by Dan Aykroyd and John Lithgow, are looking for a politician who they can help finance so that way they can continue to work with the Chinese for cheap overseas labor.
So after making some calls, these Koch brothers, as they're called, end up getting into connection with a friend of theirs who hooks them up with his son, Marty Huggins, a local South Carolina resident, so he can be their political puppet.
Typically, when you think Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, you usually think funny, right? I'm actually asking because I don't really watch a lot of movies or comedy specials. I actually don't know for myself.
Overall, while the movie does have its fair share of fun moments here and there, it just feels incredibly disjointed with the story, and the editing and pacing of the film just feels a little sloppy every once in a while. It's definitely not as funny a movie as it could have been.
I remember my parents telling me that Will Ferrell used to be really funny when he played George W. Bush on SNL. And I remember my stoner roommates in college said they always liked Zach Galifianakis in those Hangover movies and his Netflix stand-up specials. So, I don't know, if you ever want to see a movie where Will Ferrell plays George W. Bush and Zach Galifianakis plays his brother Seth from his stand-ups, then yeah, I guess this is the movie for you.
The movie also goes into various issues with politics. A lot of them progressively have gotten worse in the last few years. But even as the 2012 landscape is concerned, I feel like they could have had plenty more to say. Yes, they do touch on lobbyists and the rich using politicians and their connections to try and get whatever they want and stomp out the general wants of the people and instilling pinheads who can help them get away with it.
Another issue the movie tackles is the smear campaigning and mudslinging and name-calling that comes with every election cycle, and how it's not really about attacking a person's politics or their personal beliefs, but just making your opponent look super fucking evil.
As a movie itself, it just kind of falls flat a little bit. The two main characters themselves are portrayed as not very bright. Yes, we get it. Sometimes people in politics are very moronic, cartoonish even, in how simple they can be. But I mean, seriously, who would want to watch an entire movie based on that? Who would want to watch an entire program based on that? Of some nut on the left and nut on the right talking about things and making topical jokes?
Now, some people might enjoy this movie because of the leads and the cast, and that's all fine and good, but honestly, remembering 2012, it's really nothing great. Which is a shame because apparently the director for this movie has done funny movies before, like the Meet the Parents movies and Austin Powers. So clearly he's done quality work, I guess. I don't know, people told me those were good movies. I've never actually seen them. But overall, the movie, while kind of forgettable, does have moments here and there that are kind of funny, that work both as a silly, broad comedy and as a political satire.
I mean, really go back to 2012 for a second. There were comedy movies coming out based on 80s cop shows, the creator of Family Guy as a foul-mouthed teddy bear, and Sacha Baron Cohen as a Middle Eastern dictator. And I feel like each and every one of those movies was just a little funnier than this movie was. At least I think so. That's what people told me. Although, there is definitely one character who's consistently entertaining all the way through the movie. That being Marty Huggins' campaign manager, Tim Whatley.
Agreed, he is definitely one of the better parts of the movie. He's slick, shady, underhanded, and he feels like the kind of person who you could definitely see working in politics. I mean, even when he's saying really silly lines, he really melts into the character well, and you actually believe that he's a genuinely intimidating person. Oh, and also, there's a scene in the movie where Will Ferrell punches a baby in the face, and even though I'm glad they didn't actually use a real baby, the CGI on it honestly looks almost as bad as the CG baby in American Sniper.
I guess if anything, if you wanted to see a movie where Will Ferrell punches a baby in the face and calls it a mother effer, this is the movie for you. Though why you would want to see that, I really don't know. And the thing is, they put that scene in every trailer for this movie when it was coming out. They were so proud of that comedic set piece, they put it in every single piece of advertising. It really isn't that funny.
Overall, funny movie, has its moments, but overall, it's nothing great.
Agreed. Far from a perfect movie, but it has a few fun moments scattered all throughout that keeps it from being a truly terrible movie.
Oh, I gotta say, that's probably the most professional I've seen these guys in videos. I mean, yeah, there was still a few moments where they couldn't help but take petty jabs, but overall, that was pretty professional.